So since we live in a world of fast-moving acronyms and emojis, I figure these two pretty much say it all when it comes to New York Knicks as we begin July 2019. Indeed, I don't know, and yes, I am bummed out about the Knicks. I'm Matt Levine. I'm happy about you joining me here on my YouTube station. Thank you so much for doing so and being part of things. Please go ahead and subscribe and like the video. Check out 954sports.com. So while I'm grateful for that, I'm disappointed in those New York Knickerbockers. Only the Knicks can bum me out with off-the-court shenanigans in the offseason. Like no other team that I root for, no other franchise. They're special in that regard, I'm telling you. So let's get to it. How bad have the Knicks been? Well, last year was 17 up. That's right, 17 up, 65 down. The last time they accomplished that was the worst record in franchise history, duplicated last year. The original squad that had that distinction, the 14-15 Knicks. Knicks have now had 5 straight seasons of 50-plus losses since the turn of the century. Only 4 50-plus win teams. The best in 12 and 13, 154. The only team to win a playoff series this century. So the Knicks have been a disaster this century, which is now a fifth, nearly a fifth over, right? 20% done. And the New York Knicks, a once proud franchise that was the jewel of New York. And when the Knicks were winning in their heyday, when they were competitive, not even winning titles, we know that back in the 90s, just competitive, able to push around Michael Jordan and the Bulls and come up a little bit short, but us Knicks fans, we were so proud. And with that said, I have to admit, I'm living in the past. You see right back of me over what? My right shoulder here? My precious John Starks autographed picture. I've had the privileged opportunity to interview Mr. Starks 2 times. And he is certainly one of those Knicks that is near and dear to my sports heart. For all that he gave for the Knicks and what those teams meant in New York for coming close and just going out there night in and night out battling, especially in the postseason. But the Knicks have become a tired joke in the NBA. And about 1 month ago, I won here on my YouTube station, and I preached, and I pleaded, and I hoped that the Knicks would certainly stay their course on draft day night. And they did. To their credit, they did select R.J. Barrett of Duke University with the 3rd pick. Knicks didn't flip the pick, do anything impulsive or stupid. And I believe R.J. is going to be one heck of a player in the National Basketball Association within due time. But I remember saying in that video that I hope that the likes of Kevin Durant and Kyrie would find it in themselves to take on the enormous challenge that no blue chipper in the NBA has seemed to want to take on in now 2 near decades of coming to New York and helping the Knicks reverse their fortunes. I thought these two would do it. So I held out hope like a lot of Knicks fans did. And simply in the end, it looked like a couple things. All right? It looked like, to me, Kyrie and KD, they didn't want to go to the Knicks. Plain and simple. They didn't even want to use the Knicks as a bargaining chip, as a decoy. They didn't care. It seemed like those two got together and they held firm that they're going to Brooklyn or bust. The Knicks were never a factor. So that bothers me that Knicks aren't a factor. And even what bothers me more, not even those two, okay? I can understand a couple things here. Kevin Durant, certainly the Achilles injury. That could be a career ender, and I'll knock on my glass desk for Kevin Durant's sake. He's a special, special ball player. I hope that he's healthy. Much sooner than later, he's out there doing his thing because he's a joy to watch. Multi-talented, a big 6'10" guy, plays like a point guard and just can do everything on the court. And you saw the grit and determination, the heart he showed in the finals. So I'm on board. I like KD. He's not with the Knicks. He's with Brooklyn, but I'm rooting for him. And again, I'd love to see that guy healthy and make the return of all returns. But is it a sound business investment for the Knicks? And whether or not they wanted to give him the max funds, no. So I understand that. Kyrie, like KD, a proven winner, ice water in his veins. I saw what he can do when he was able to, with LeBron, put that Cavs team on their backs, bury shot after shot in winning the first title in basketball history in Cleveland. And how special that was, knocking off the Warriors. Was that 3 years ago? So I've seen the best of these two guys in the biggest moment, and they're both money. But, his relationship with the Celtics, his players in Boston, something about that ain't kosher. Something ain't cool. So I don't necessarily think he was the best fit for the Knicks, and he's also injury prone. And with the situation, again, with Achilles, I don't think it was the best move for the Knicks anyways. But what bothers me, and it also bothers me on another level, because guys like Kemba Walker, I don't know if he can single-handedly would be the guy to turn around the Knicks' fortunes. But another kid, he's actually from the Bronx. Kyrie is from South Orange, New Jersey. So both of these guys, tri-state area guys in the New York City region. But Kemba, New York City born and bred, a legend at UConn. I was still working as a sportscaster in Connecticut watching him take UConn that magical national championship run. Talk about putting a team on his back for some March Madness. And he's had a great career in the NBA. And a New York kid, born, raised, going to Charlotte, becoming a great player, age 29 in his prime. Never even considered the Knicks. That's what it seemed to me. Never even thought about it. Just bolted right to the Boston Celtics. So it bothers me when the blue chip guys do not want to come to New York. Why don't they want to come to New York? It's simple. They don't want to work for the head cheese. Since Dolan has been there, it's been 18 near miserable years. I mentioned the 12-13 squad. They were winners, but otherwise it's been an organization of dysfunction and now of comic relief. And it's obvious. How many of you, myself included, hands raised, have worked at places or walks of, different spaces or walks of your career where you work with folks that have a reputation, or maybe you have a chance to go somewhere and work with the person that you once worked with and say, I don't want to work with that person, guy, girl. I want no part of them. Been there, done it, or I heard this and that. That's not me. It's the same thing in the NBA. They know what is behind the curtain with the New York Knicks, and players don't want to be part of it. So what happens with the Knicks now? Well, they went out there on the free agent market, spent some of that money they were hoping to use on the blue chippers, and instead got guys like Julius Randle, Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, Wayne Ellington, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton. Randall, potentially an all-star. Solid season last year. Basically, he's the guy that got the old swift kick in the you-know-what for Zion. Somebody had to get the boot for Zion, right, in New Orleans, and that's Randall. But a good basketball player. Can shoot the ball downtown, 21 points, 9 boards. Solid season, a chance to be a all-star. So a good basketball player. Not a great, not a perennial all-star. Not a KD in the breath of one of the greatest of all time. Or Kyrie, who could put up an argument, right? But Good ball player. The knock on him is that he doesn't have a basketball IQ. Is that a nice way of saying he's a dope? I'm wondering that throughout the day today. I don't know. Seems like a good kid to me. Great ball player in Kentucky. I remember that, and I like his game. Say he doesn't play defense. We'll see. We'll see. Some of the other guys, the Gibsons, the Ellingtons of the world, old, played out, big deal. I don't know. We'll see. To me, it's a bunch of serviceable guys that you can plug in. With Randall, again, you hope you get lucky. And you hope that Randall meshes well, because the Knicks have no other avenue to go down right now than the avenue, or I should say the fountain of youth. And you hope a guy like Julius Randle meshes well with Mitchell Robinson, right? Kevin Knox, you hope he was the Kevin Knox we saw on the tail end of his rookie season. Saw glimmers of hope. I mentioned R.J. Barrett. Dennis Smith Jr., fingers crossed. The other kid, Iggy Brasdeikis. I like him, the second-round pick from Michigan. So you hope here that you have a core, a nucleus that gets better over time. That's the only hope you have right now with the Knicks. That this half-dozen group of young players, maybe a couple of them are stars, the rest of them very serviceable, very good, they stay healthy, and together they learn how to overcome and win. And you matriculate some of these serviceable guys that I mentioned in the mix, the new free agents, to kind of keep the ship steady. You weather the storm, and you hope. Don't hope too much, because we saw what free agency hope did to us this year. What's the quote Morgan Freeman says in Shawshank Redemption? Hope is a dangerous thing, right? It certainly pertains to the criminals at Shawshank and the New York Knicks. It is a dangerous thing, because next summer, I was going to say, you have the likes of a Draymond Green that leads the free agent class, and then 2021, the Greek Freak. I don't know by then if anyone's still going to want to come to New York. But maybe if some of these young guys can start showing some glimmers of hope. I mean, there's only one way to go from 17 wins, up. Maybe 30 wins, maybe some flashes. Maybe you start attracting some people in New York. Can't discount the Nets. They got their two guys. A lot of hope with the Nets. And, frankly, I don't blame Kyrie or Kevin Durant for going to the Nets. A much better situation than the Knicks and a lot less pressure. Time will tell how that works out for New Jersey. Oh, New Jersey. I knew I'd say it. For Brooklyn, my bad. They'll always be New Jersey to me, even though they play at the Barclays Center, which I hear is fantastic. I have to get back there to see a game at the Barclays Center. I'm sure it's going to be a hot ticket, if not this year, when KD returns. So again, time will tell with the Brooklyn Nets. A final thought here. Like it or not, the Knicks are going to get a lot of experience next year. And it reminds me of the quote from the great Bob Ross. Yes, that Bob Ross, who said, anytime you learn, you gain. And these young Knicks are going to learn a lot. Baptism by fire in 19 and 20. And we'll see what they gain from it. Bob Ross also said, talk to the tree. Make a friend with it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Matt Levine saying so long, and let's keep those fingers crossed for the New York Knicks, because that's all we can do moving forward.